I always had a bit of a passion for road racing, always watching MotoGP and Superbikes, and always wanted to get out there and give it a go.
It all pretty much happened by accident. Ended up with a stock standard CBR 1000 back in 2008. No intention of ever taking it to the track.
I brought myself a street bike, and from there I enjoyed the road bike, so I sold that, brought myself a track bike.
I just got hooked. I just love the buzz. I love the speed, love the adrenaline, love the power, and it just got a hold of me.
About my third year racing at the moment, so 2 years in the super sport class and now moving up to the Superbike, so it's definitely all happened quick.
I learnt pretty much at the track, and I learnt by mistakes, and we just really started from pretty much next to nothing as far as knowledge goes. This is my second season now in the Australian Series, and it's been one heck of a ride. The amount I've learnt is just unfathomable.
When you turn up to the track and we're able to put in a good display and have some competitive bikes, it definitely feels good, and I'd like to be able to be up there and give it to the factory guys and do what I can to learn from them and be able to show that we are a competitive team and we've got what it takes.
Sydney Motorsport Park is established as one of the nation's great motorsport venues. Today, Australia's best superbike riders converge on Eastern Creek in Sydney's west to contest round 3 of the Yamaha Motor Finance Australian Superbike Championship. In the opening 2 rounds at Phillip Island and Wakefield Park, the Yamahas of Glenn Allerton and Wayne Maxwell and the Honda of Troy Herfoss have won all races. Who will it be at Sydney Motorsport Park as the nation's best run side by side in quest of national glory? Our coverage presented by Yamaha Motor Finance, Yamaha Motorcycle Insurance, Motul and Pirelli.
Hello and welcome to Sydney Motorsport Park for round 3 of the Australian Superbike Championship. It's been an epic rounds 1 and 2. As always, I've got Jason Crump here. Jason, this track can't be any more different than Wakefield Park. Tell us about this circuit.
Yeah, that's right. Sydney Motorsport Park is a completely different track. It's open, flowing and very fast. Actually a Grand Prix standard track, so it's great for these guys in the Asbk to get the chance to race here.
We saw Wayne Maxwell on pole at round 1. He's pulled it off here at round 3 at Eastern Creek. What do you think his chances are of actually winning in the races today?
The way he looked yesterday in practice, he was actually a cut above almost everybody apart from Glenn Allerton. So Wayne's riding at the moment is right at the top of his game. So for him to win today, I wouldn't be surprised. But we have to remember one thing, and that is the weather. The weather forecast is not great for today, Steve. So anything can happen, and if rain comes into play, it opens the book right up again.
Well, Jason caught up with Wayne. Let's see what he had to say.
Yeah, look, it's amazing to be able to do that on these specification bikes. It just shows how good the new bikes are and how good the Yamaha's working in these conditions. The conditions are, maybe not ideal, like close to ideal. It's when you're talking tenths of seconds, a little bit cooler, we probably could have done it.
Well, you think you can go quicker than that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for sure. The bike is, the bike's working really, really well, and I was taking risks then, so my confidence is good, and just got to remember the Wakefield incident in the back of my head, so I don't take too many risks.
Good luck for the race.
Thanks, guys.
David Tapp now joining you at Sydney Motorsport Park. Jason Crump there with Wayne Maxwell following his blistering run in qualifying, 1 minute 29.905. As we now look at the Sydney Motorsport Park layout, a real rider's circuit. There is certainly something here for everyone. Let's go down to Jason Crump in pit lane.
Don, can you explain the difference for us, please, in the racing slick tyre and the normal road treaded tyre?
Yeah, absolutely, Jason. Yeah, the racing tyre is really designed for guys as fast as possible for a relatively short space of time out on the circuit like Sydney Motorsport Park. So compound-wise, it's obviously a lot softer. It's a slick tyre, so no tread on the tyre either, as opposed to a street tyre, which has obviously got tread on it. So we've got better water dispersal, those sorts of things. For a race guy, we have a specific rain tyre, so if we do come across rain here on this weekend, we can use the Pirelli Diablo Rain in those conditions. So Pirelli with World Superbike, for example, develops racing tyres there that we can use here in Australia. And because the manufacturing process is the same, we can then apply some of the technology that we use there and some of the lessons we learn at racing to our street product. This is the Diablo Superbike SE2 front. This is a tyre that the Honda team is using this weekend as one of the solutions on the front, and riders right around Australia can buy this tyre to go to the track on and race on their bike. The tyre in the middle, it's a Diablo Rain. So if we get wet conditions out here on the weekend, it's a racing tyre still, specific to the track, softer compound, obviously got deep water channels in it to pump out plenty of water for racing conditions as well. And then the next tyre we see there is the new Diablo Rosso 3. It's our sports tyre, hypersport tyre, for a rider who comes to the track. He still wants Pirelli performance in his tyre, but he needs to do his riding in different conditions. So he wants to ride when it's on the rain, wants to ride it on the street as well, twisty roads, those types of things as well. So a broader range of application with the new Diablo Rosso 3. But it's a pretty cool new tyre. Derived its tread pattern from our racing Diablo Supercorsa tyre. So we're pretty excited to get it out into the market. About a 15% increase on the old Rosso 2 to Rosso 3 in terms of mileage. We use a dual compound on our street tyre on the rear as well, whereas with the slick tyre, just a single compound right across the tyre. So mileage is important for the street. We use a dual compound on the rear to get that little bit better mileage out of the tyre as well.
Great to see that the input from racing is helping all avenues of motorcycling, including in tyre safety.
Yeah, look, for us at Pirelli, it's really important that we can join those together. Pirelli's investment in the world superbike level needs to be able to be transferred easily across to the street tyre, so all of our customers hopefully can take advantage of what we learn when we go racing.
It's not very often you get to be with a guy like this, a guy who's won World Superbike Championships, won MotoGP races, been there and done that basically. He's pretty much done everything. Troy Bayliss doesn't really need any introduction. In fact, we're here at Eastern Creek, and this is a track where your Superbike career all started.
Pretty much, Steve, and I think pretty much the same for you as well. Really, we've both done a lot of laps around here. It's a great place. I remember being here in the early to mid-90s, and I've had some hard times and some really, a few good times here as well, and I remember them days fondly. It's really nice to be back now here with the Desmo Ducati squad and have Mike Jones riding for us, doing a great job, and we're really looking forward to having a good weekend.
How are you finding it now that you've made the switch from rider, full-time rider to part-time rider to just a team manager now? I mean, what's it actually like? Do you still get the same buzz?
I do now. I'm sure you've been through the same thing. When you first stop, it's always really hard. I really enjoy watching the guys ride now, whether it be Mike or the guys on the 600s, even the younger guys. But I do get the same feeling. It feels like I'm sort of riding, you know. I was disappointed after Wakefield, but a difficult weekend, and I can't wait to we're up on the podium, hopefully the top step, and I'm going to have a really good feeling. I feel exactly like I've just hopped off the bike myself.
Well, there you go, Troy Bayliss. He's still got that winning mentality. Keep an eye out on the Desmo Sport Ducati team.
Thank you, Steve Martin. Great to have Troy Bayliss involved in the 2016 championship. As you look at Glenn Allerton, we'll now bring you up to date on the progress point score. And we bring you this information for Yamaha Motorcycle Insurance, who present the Superbike coverage on television. Herfoss leading Allerton, Maxwell, Burke, Jones, Falzon, Halliday, Blair, rounding out the top 8 at the completion of 2 rounds. Bikes now on the circuit. The first race here today is imminent. Let's take this opportunity to cross trackside. Here's Jason Crump.
The skies are clear for race 1 at Sydney Motorsport Park. We thought there might have been a little bit of rain around, but so far it's held off. Wayne Maxwell, your second pole position of the year. You must be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, look, super pumped just to take the point and try to claw back that mistake from race 1 in the last round at round 2 at Wakefield. So it's all important at the end of the year. Every point counts.
Long run here to the first corner, completely different than Wakefield Park. You're obviously looking to get a good jump and lead the pack and do what you did in race 2 there.
Yeah, look, I was trying to make it a nice, consistent race, no mistakes, get away clean, and yeah, hopefully we've got the pace to be able to just keep chipping away over the race and get to where we need to get.
Thanks, Wayne. Good luck. Wayne's actually probably in some of the best form of his career, in my opinion. He's riding as well as I've ever seen him ride, and you can see the attitude he's got there, just talking to him, is rubbing off on his riding. A guy who didn't actually have the best weekend at Wakefield's Mike Jones, our defending champion. Mike, put Wakefield Park away, come here to Sydney Motorsport Park, you put it on the front row, looking forward to a good race here.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the second round there wasn't ideal. We had a really good first round and looking to have a really good third round here at Sydney Motorsport Park, and I think that'll be good for the Desmo Sport Ducati team.
Good work, Mike. Enjoy the race. That's a young fella who's actually really keen, really excited, super pumped. Troy Bayless is his boss. He's doing a good job. As we said, disappointing day at Wakefield for him, but he will put it behind him and he will move on. Somebody who was a bit unlucky actually to miss out on Superpole yesterday was Matty Walters. Matty, you were in the sixth there for a large part of the qualifying and just missed out towards the end.
Yeah, we obviously missed the go at the first part of the qualifying. We decided to wait and see if we get bumped down, and we did, which kind of our fault a little bit, leaving a little bit too late. But we thought we could go out and try and better our time, but we didn't. We struggled a little bit with setup. But other than that, it's race day now and different day, and we'll just try and move forward from here.
Let's check the grid now. Round 3 of the Australian Superbike Championship coming to you from Sydney Motorsport Park. Wayne Maxwell, outstanding during qualifying, on pole. Beside him, Glenn Allerton and Mike Jones. Row 2 occupied by Troy Herfoss, Crew Halliday and Daniel Falzon. Then the next row, Matt Walters, Jamie Stauffer and Michael Blair. Ben Burke, Braden Elliott, Sloane Frost, Simon Galloway, Matt Harding and Trent Gibson. Ryan Hampton, Adam Senior, Brenton Schmidt. Now towards the back of the grid, Rendon, Griffin and Dutton, Berry, Spiteri and Beard, then Marsh and Keogh. 12-lap journey, Sydney Motorsport Park. We are ready for blast-off. In the opening race, Maxwell on pole. He got away well. Let's check it out here. A great start by on the inside, Falzon as always. Look at Matt Walters. Look at him, absolutely jet propelled on the Kawasaki. As they chart through the first turn, he takes the lead, Steve Martin.
Yeah, what an incredible start by Matt Walters on the Kawasaki, but he runs wide. Maxwell up the inside in turn 2. Maxwell holding it tight through there, and Matty Walters sits in a good second position at the moment.
Tremendous start by the rider of bike 12, whom you're now looking at as we take the race cam out the back of Wayne Maxwell's bike, the official factory Yamaha R1. So Maxwell, of course, reminding you, he won the second race at Wakefield Park in round 2. So continuing where he left off. Now there's another move. Walters has been bumped back one more spot by virtue of an inside pass by Glenn Allerton. This is tremendous stuff up front.
Yeah, that was a great move by Allerton. He got a good drive out of Yamaha corner and got up the inside of Matty Walters, and that's what he needed to do because he can't afford to let his teammates get ahead at the moment.
We should mention Jamie Stauffer, of course, on the Crank Protein Honda Bike 27. He's running in the top half dozen. This is his comeback from serious injury. It'll be interesting to see how things pan out for him throughout the course of the day. Now we look at Halliday at the back of the Troy Herfoss machine.
Yeah, Herfoss has been having a little bit of a quiet weekend through qualifying so far, but he's in a good position at 4th at the moment behind the Kawasaki man, Matty Walters. There's Mike Jones all the way out on the right as well there, trying to get a bit of a slipstream past that group in front of him, but he can't do it this time round.
So lap 2 of 12 now. They exit Yamaha Motor Finance Straight, heading up towards Motul Turn. Maxwell riding with such great confidence, the only rider into the 129 second bracket during Superpole.
Crew Halliday as well there on the number 65 R1 behind Matty Walters on his Repsol sponsored Kawasaki. Bit of movement there from Matt Walters already. That Kawasaki, of course, it's a brand new machine this year, and looks like it still needs a little bit of setting up in the rear end of that bike to make it a smoother ride from Matty Walters there.
Troy Herfoss on the Crank Protein Honda in 5th position. That, of course, is bike number 17. They are setting a cracking pace up front here. Opening race of the Australian Superbike Championship, presented by Yamaha Motorcycle Insurance. On today's program, you'll also see action from Supersport and highlights of production, the Yamaha R3 Cup and Moto 3.
Herfoss around the outside of Crew Halliday there. That was a brilliant move. Incredible stuff by Herfoss. But the thing is, he's got to hold that now down the Yamaha Motor Finance straight. Through Yamaha corner they go. And Herfoss now has got a gaggle of guys behind him. Is the Honda fast enough? We're about to find out.
Onto the straight, they stretch their legs again. Allerton starts to stalk Wayne Maxwell. Been somewhat of a familiar story, really, throughout the 2016 championships so far. Allerton, of course, dominating the opening round at Phillip Island. Herfoss winning the first of 2 races at Wakefield Park in round 2. Maxwell getting a victory in the second. You can see there Matt Walters. He looked a little unstable there under brakes, didn't he? Bike starting to move around a bit more than he would have liked at this early stage. You wouldn't think he's burned his tyres on lap 3.
Not yet, but I still think that bike needs a little bit of work done to it. We're on board with Mad Mike on the big booming V-twin Ducati at the moment, the Panigale, and what a beautiful sounding beast it is.
Jones, the reigning Australian Superbike champion. Of course, this joint venture between Troy Bayliss and Ben Henry, fielding that bike for Jones. It's been very, very good so far this season. We ride on board with Walters. You can see Halliday has slipped by, really disappear into the distance. Only time will tell.
Yeah, Halliday did a very similar move to what we saw Glenn Allen do. There goes Mike Jones as well under brakes. He's very good on the brakes on that $12.99 Panigale.
Your thoughts on this circuit, Steve?
You know what? This is a fantastic racing riders circuit. It's got a little bit for everyone. There's fast corners, slow corners, 180-degree bends, hard braking, bumps. It's a circuit where it's very difficult to set the bike up for every part, and that means that there's lots of overtaking opportunities here. And the guys that ride here the most normally have a little bit in hand.
Let's check out for Suzuki a replay of what transpired at the start. We look at this now. The race has settled down up front. Falzon was away quickly, as I described at the time. Maxwell got a booming start, but what about Matt Walters? That was the talking point early in this race on the Kawasaki. Riding on board with him now. He got to the front, but unfortunately ran wide on modal turn, and Maxwell came surging back.
Yeah, but what a start for Matty Walters on that Kawasaki. It bodes well for the future of Matty and that team if they can just find a little bit more handling out of that bike. I'm sure that he looks like he's going to be able to run with the front runners. Troy Herfoss is making another run back on Crew Halliday there.
Yep, so now back to the action up front. It is Wayne Maxwell, and right now you look at Glenn Allerton.
That's as close as I've seen Allerton all race. It looks like he's starting to size up Maxwell, but it doesn't look like he's got a clear advantage anywhere at the moment. Maxwell is a hard man to pass. He's so strong on the brakes. If you can pass him on the brakes, you're a very, very brave man.
Been a great season thus far for the factory Yamaha YZF-R1 boys. Oh, we've got a crash at Sydney Motorsport Park. Bike number 22. That is Trent Gibson, and will take no further part in this one. Good to see he's up and quite okay. Yeah,
good to see that. Looked like I saw one of the next gen bikes out there in the dirt as well. Hopefully we get a replay of that later on.
Maxwell leads Allerton, only about 1.5 bike lengths separating first and second. That's fair gap back to our third place runner at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean the two Yamahas are fairly dominant out front at the moment, and you know, still Allerton looking for a way past. Here's a replay, the Suzuki replay of the incident between Trent Gibson and one of the Next Gen Motorsport boys there, Sloane Frost, and he's nipped up the inside as Trent Gibson. Out wider was Frost. Frost came in, bit of racing touching there, and it's all over for Trent Gibson for this one.
Yeah, you can see him throwing his hands in the air in disbelief. Good to see that he's A-OK, however. So battle continues up front. Lap 9 of 12 in our highlights coverage. Allerton is close enough if good enough. The question is, how much in reserve does Wayne Maxwell have? Based on his effort in qualifying, you'd think a little bit.
Well, you'd think so. I mean, he's inch perfect around this circuit. He's done a lot of laps here on the Yamaha. He's just starting to come to grips with this bike. Remember, it's his, hasn't been riding this new Yamaha perhaps as long as some of the other guys, but he had some front end issues earlier on, but he's gotten used to those now.
Replay of Jamie Stauffer nipping up on the inside of Matt Walters. That's the battle for 6th and 7th. Daniel Falzon, as you can see, is also very much in the mix as we glance back a little further in the pack to check out the action. Falzon got a great start, but he's struggling to stay on equal terms with the leader's pace in this one. Yeah, it's surprising because he's been so fast all weekend, but to be fair to him, this is probably the first time that he's raced a Superbike around this circuit. The Caterpillar team weren't here at Eastern Creek last year, so Daniel Falzon learning lap by lap this weekend. Back on to Yamaha Motor Finance Straight. We do it with Daniel charging through The left-hander at the end of the main straight, one of the most exhilarating corners in national motor racing. And again, we check out the action up front with Wayne Maxwell still leading Glenn Allerton. There's no real change at this juncture. Mike Jones runs in third on the Desmo Sport Ducati, but he's a fair way back. In fact, a little more than 6 seconds behind the leading two riders.
Yeah, if you look at them just sitting there in unison, it doesn't look like Allerton's got anything. You know, it looks to me like if Maxwell makes a mistake, he can get through, but I don't think he's got anything extra at the moment. Maxwell drives up the corners just that little bit better. A little bit, you watch out of here, a little bit of a better drive out of there, bit of a slide from Maxwell, but hard on the brakes. Normally this is Allerton's territory, but he can't really close him down there either. So Allerton is stuck in the groove at the moment behind the man in front, Wayne Maxwell, wondering what he has to do.
Yeah, well, what he has to do is very simple, find a way past, but it's easier said than done. Maxwell riding with so much confidence, double apex left-hander, and back onto the main straight. They open up the throttle, and speed's going down the main straight, approaching 300 Ks.
Very much so, tipping into that turn one there, braking just at the 100-metre mark, back a couple of gears, fourth gear flat out through this very, very fast left-hander. And you know what, you need to be brave to ride this circuit very, very fast.
Full credit to everyone associated with Sydney Motorsport Park. Wonderful facility, this great place to come to, and certainly on par with many Grand Prix circuits around the world in terms of overall infrastructure. I mean, again, we look out the back of Wayne Maxwell's Yamaha R1. A reminder, the next round of the Australian Superbike Championship for Yamaha Motor Finance, scheduled for Barbagallo Raceway in Western Australia, June 3 to 5. You'll see coverage right here on Fox Sports.
Maxwell is coming up on some back markers. That might help Allerton, actually. Let's hope that those back markers don't get in the way, but they're coming up at turn 8, which is, oh, this could make a difference in this race.
Yeah, bike 15 is there, and let's see if Maxwell can get by safely. He does.
And it's Allerton now. Does Allerton get through too? And he does, as they head into the top part of the circuit, Yamaha corner, and head down the straight, the main straight again, tucked in under the screen.
We'll get the last lap to go, board this time.
Well, if Allerton's got anything, he's going to have to pull it out of the bag now. No point holding back, but he hasn't really shown anything from any of the onboard shots that we've seen. Bit of a wobble there. Falzon, and Walter's still going for it. Around the outside, tries to go Falzon, but he can't do it there. So head down into turn 8.
Yeah, that's a replay for Suzuki. That happened a couple of moments ago as we were watching Maxwell and Allerton embarking on their final lap of Sydney Motorsport Park. Well, has Glenn Allerton got what it takes to bridge the gap and make a pass on the race leader? It would appear not. Maxwell does seem to have something in reserve as he heads for the checkered flag.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are on absolute lap record pace every lap throughout this race, and that just makes it hard. It makes it really hard if you're Glenn Allerton sitting in second spot at the moment. What do? Do you risk it and take your teammate out, or do you take the points for second place? It's a long championship.
Great onboard vision emanating from Sydney Motorsport Park. Maxwell looking the goods, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's
not moving around, really.
It's not. I mean, he's got that thing set up perfectly, and these guys have done a lot of laps around here, but if there's any chance, it's going to be in this next couple of corners.
The last couple of corners, in fact. Maxwell, he'll head onto the main straight. Allerton definitely not close enough. So our pole sitter, Wayne Maxwell, is going to emerge the victor in race number 1 of the Australian Superbike Championship at Sydney Motorsport Park, and did it fairly easily in the end, despite the best efforts of his teammate, who certainly didn't let him relax throughout. He took the fight up to him. We'd expect nothing less from Glenn Allerton. As you can see, Mike Jones on the Desmo Sport Ducati officially placed in third, 20 seconds behind our race winner. Halliday, Herfoss next on the circuit, and Jamie Stauffer a solid ride on his comeback from injury as well.
Yeah, really good to see Jamie Stauffer come back, and get a good solid finish under his belt. But the dominance of those two Yamahas in that race was absolutely incredible, and I didn't expect to see that.
Now Maxwell can do no more, dominating Super Pole to claim pole position. And as you saw, outstanding performance, taking victory in race number 1. Jason Crump, Australia's 3 times world champion, in position. Here he is.
Almost a perfect race from pole position.
Yeah, absolutely. Mate, I got away, got off the line, and then Matty Walters come by and he got into turn 2 really hot and ran a little bit wide, and I just seen the opportunity because I know Matt's a hard guy to pass. He's super strong on the brake, and I got a gap and I come around and seen +1, and then next lap +0 GA, and I was like, oh, well, he's like a dog with a bone. He isn't going to go away. So just settle into a rhythm and then try to get the last few laps and try to, make nice clean laps with no mistakes, and we'll be able to manage to do that, and we got the win.
It was a great race for us. Sort of had a plan to try and get me and Wayne away from everybody because I felt like we were going to be quicker than everyone, and that seemed to work. But just when we got to the point of the race where I wanted to try to attack him, we were just so evenly matched in all the corners that I really couldn't find a way or a gap to try and get through on him. Like I could sit right on his backside and I just couldn't find a way through. So to take second, still great for the championship. I think that puts me in the championship lead and got the lap records.
Yeah, definitely. No, obviously really happy to be on the podium, and third place is a good result for us. We started third, and to finish in that position is really good. So obviously the Desmo Sport Ducati team are working really well together, and we're making progress with the bike, which is good. So just unfortunately in the race I didn't get the start that I was hoping for, and that sort of meant that I got tangled up with a few other guys before I could get away, and by then it was too late for the other guys who already got away. So hopefully the next one I'll be aiming for a better start and hopefully run with the guys up front.
You know what? It's hard to find an angle on the 60th anniversary Yamaha R1 that doesn't look beautiful. It really is a stunning machine, probably my favourite looking machine. These colours have got a lot of history, and I'm so glad that Yamaha have decided to use this racing scheme on this new machine to celebrate the 60th anniversary. Apart from that though, this R1 is the business. It's got everything: slide control, traction control, wheelie control, all of the stuff that you need on the road to keep you safe. But apart from that, this bike on the track is a complete weapon. It's won most of the races here in the Australian Superbike Championship so far this year in the hands of Team Yamaha. All the other competitors are having trouble. This is the bike to beat at the moment on the track. Apart from the 60th anniversary livery on this machine, the differences between the 15 and the 16 are small but significant. This is not the first big bang engine that Yamaha have made in a road bike. The bike that came out in 2009 had a big bang engine in it, but it was wider, larger and very heavy. They've had a close look at the M1 of Rossi and Lorenzo and made this bike very close to that. An improved gearbox and also a refined electronics package make this bike a real special beast. I'm sick and tired of talking about it. Let's get it out on the track and see what it can really do. Here we go down the main straight at Sydney Motorsport Park, and I tell you what, this thing is really cranking up. 250, 260, 270 k's now, hard on the brakes into turn 1. Let's remember, this thing is on the standard tyres that it comes with off of the showroom floor, and it is handling beautifully already. Hard on the brakes, those stoppers are working well into Motul corner, and tip it in for the first time around here. It's still got the mirrors fitted to this thing. I can't believe it. How can you go? You can scrape your knee on the ground on a road bike nowadays. It's just amazing beyond me. But this Yamaha has got a great torquey engine. It's got really good gearbox as well. I can just use the automatic shifter to change up and down the gears at ease. So easy to get on the throttle compared to last year's model as well. Last year it was, got to say, a little bit glitchy, but this thing as smooth as can be. I have mucked around with the electronics a little bit. I've taken the wheelie control off, but that's just for fun. I'd leave it on if I was on the road for sure. Braking and precision is perfect on the R1. I can put this thing on a dime. It goes exactly where I need it to go. And once again, just that linear power makes it really easy to ride. Hard on the brakes, down into turn 8. Tip it in. Even on the tight stuff, it feels good. Once again, drive that Bridgestone rear tyre, a little bit of a spin up the hill, tip into turn 9, just at the end of Honda Straight, and a quick change of direction. It's also easy to change direction as well. That makes this thing a very good all-round package. Really love this Yamaha R1. Onto the start-finish straight for one more time, a little bit of a wheelie. Away we go through the gearbox, and I tell you what, this thing's sweet. You know what? It turns out that old school yellow is just about my favourite colour. I love this R1.
Next up on today's program, race 1 for the highly competitive Super Sport category. Jason Crump spoke with our pole sitter.
Pole position man in the Super Sport 600 class, Cambridge Oliver. What a great lap you put together there.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's a big improvement over my best before. We've got some good guys working with me this year, so it's very satisfying to get on my first pole position.
First pole position, and I believe almost a lap faster than you've ever been around this track before.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was a wild lap. I gave it everything. No excuses. It was the best lap I could string together.
Great. Here comes Dave from Link International Pirelli Tyres to present you with your prize.
Fantastic lap. Well done. Thanks very much. Cheers.
This race to be conducted over 10 laps around the very fast Sydney Motorsport Park circuit. Let's go back to Jason.
Troy, P2. Probably the most consistent riders, or one of the most consistent in this class. You must be pretty confident. Front row start again.
Yeah, the Graffiti Alley racing team have prepared the Yamaha R6 very well, I feel, for this race. And yeah, it's great to be on the front row. The field's very close, so I think it's going to be very beneficial for the first opening laps to get a clean start and just try to get away.
Long run to the first turn, plenty of speed build up. Are you in it? You know, make a good start and get in there hot?
That's the plan. Try to whole shot and go.
This is a bit more room this week than there was at Wakefield.
Yeah, for sure. You have a bit of a long run, like you said, and turn 1 as well sort of allows you to get a bit of space, but I still think turn 2 is going to be hard on your anchors and try to make it sick.
Get in there and enjoy the race.
Thanks, Jason.
Sam Clark he actually went 2-2 in, or 1-1, sorry, at Goulburn. Probably not that happy with his qualifying. He probably would have expected to be a bit closer to the front, but it's a long race here, much longer actually than what we had already this year. So we'll catch up with Sam. Hey mate, back on the second row. Are you happy with that position?
I wouldn't say it's ideal. You know, we had a tough day yesterday. A lot of suspension issues, and coming to a new track, you know, you've got to adapt to new corners, new bumps. So I wouldn't say we're happy, but we're staying positive. You know, we've got a long race ahead of us. You know, I'm not a bad starter, so I'm hoping we can get a good jump. And after morning warm-up, we sat on top, so we're feeling positive, and I think we can run with the boys on pole and the top 3.
I know there was quite some significant changes made from yesterday to today by the team on the bike. It's obviously worked and paid off because you were quickest this morning.
Yeah, no, you know, I went out there, didn't want to crash, so I just kind of idled around sort of thing. I wouldn't say idle, but you know, I just got into a groove and ended up going quicker than I did in qualifying. So, you know, we're feeling positive that we can, you know, like I said, stay with the front boys and, you know, hopefully we can end up on the podium at the end because at this rate, you know, it's all about points.
Good luck, enjoy the race, mate. If anybody can go personal best quickest in the morning session idling around, and they've made some pretty drastic changes to the bike that have worked. I'm actually looking forward to this race because as we can see here, what a huge run we've got to the first turn. These 600 Super Sport bikes are going to be absolutely full bore by the time we get there.
Thanks to Jason on the grid. Now let's check out the starting grid in this one. We've already heard from our pole sitter Cambridge Oliver, Roy Gunther and Callum Spriggs on the front row with Cambridge. Then it's Mitchell, Levy and Clark, Blythe Quinn and Scarcella. This race expected to be highly competitive. Bryden, Kyoto, Menzies, Burns, Knight, Collins, Spinks, Limonton, Price, then Anthony Quinn, Reese, Patrick Lee, Russell, White and Cox, Mags Russell and Simons, rounding out this very big field of 600 Super Sports. That is the scene here at Sydney Motorsport Park, and that, Steve Martin, is our pole sitter, Cambridge Oliver, who has crashed on the warm-up lap.
Oh no, he's not going to be able to start the race. He's done too much damage to that bike. He's just pushed too hard.
Agreed. Here's the start. Away. Gunther got a flyer. Let's see how it transpires into the first turn, and Gunther will in fact take the lead. Callum Spriggs, the Queenslander, quickly into second on bike number 50, but he's passed on the outside now by Luke Mitchell, the New South Welshman, on machine 96. He was really good at Wakefield Park in the second round of the championship, so consistency is something he is more than capable of.
There's Sam Clark as well on the number 36 Kawasaki, just moving up the field. His first time here at Eastern Creek, and Callum Spriggs making up that top 5 at the moment. Good start by all the contenders. There's Scarcerella as well. Scarcerella on his privateer Honda, just in the mid-pack there.
So Gunther, he was the best to begin on the Yamaha YZF R6, the Queenslander. You're looking at the action up front, no less than 10 bikes there, all jostling for position during the early stages of this one.
Any one of these top 10 really have a chance of winning this race, Dave. The times were so close. There was 7 or 8 guys within a second, and the first 3 or 4 of them were all within tenths of a second. So it's going to be an exciting race as the laps wear down.
Another rider that's been outstanding thus far is Sam Clark on 36. That is him running third now, behind Luke Mitchell. So Clark also picking up where he left off in the previous round. There's a bike spearing off the track.
I think that's Chris Quinn. Chris Quinn's taken his Cooper's Ale YZF6 Yamaha off into the boondocks.
Yeah, he'll rejoin the race, but he's lost a lot of territory in the process. So still Gunther is the leader. Have a look at this. Sensational battle up front as they race through the first left-hander, and our leader now under siege.
Sam Clark under brakes. Never been to this circuit before. This is his first race at Eastern Creek.
Look at that. Clark got a beautiful run through there. Through Motul turn. How did he do that?
Oh, that was the move of the weekend.
Brilliant. He picked off the 2 riders ahead of him in one devastating move on the inside.
Yeah, that was an amazing move by Clark there. I haven't seen anything like that for a long time. The slipperiest corner, Motul corner, but the grippiest one for him.
Exactly. So Clark, the West Australian, on board the Bantam Racing Kawasaki ZX6R. Now we ride on board with Callum Spriggs.
Yeah, Callum Spriggs, of course. He's been one of the front runners in this class for a long, long time. He won't be liking the fact that he sees Sam Clark make his way through the field, and he's going to do something about it. And there he goes. He's starting to go around the outside of a few of the guys now.
What about the action unfolding at Sydney Motorsport Park? It's good to have you with us on Fox Sports, Australia's sports leader. Supersport, such an integral part of motorcycle road racing, not just domestically, the world over. Mighty competitive formula, and onto the main straight they charge.
Luke Mitchell's been able to catch back up and get right on the back end of Sam Clark on that Kawasaki, so Luke Mitchell is definitely not going to let this one go.
Callum Spriggs is third on bike number 50, also Kawasaki mounted. Kawasaki, Mark, very competitive in Supersport, quite obviously. Check this out. Sensational.
Yeah, I mean, this is just incredible. There's so many guys in this still. I mean, there is no gap. There is no second group. It's one group at the moment.
So Clark feeling the pressure. Obviously, Luke Mitchell on 96. We're riding on board with Callum Spriggs meantime.
It's a difficult time for Sam Clark at the moment, of course, because, as I said earlier, he hasn't ridden around this circuit before. It was easy when he was behind a couple of guys to follow them and get an idea where the braking markers are, but now he's got to do it all for himself with an angry bunch of riders behind him trying to make their way through, and Luke Mitchell is not making things easy for him.
Mitch Levy, we've got to mention him. He's tucked into third now on bike number 68, the Yamaha YZF R6.
Yeah, of course, Mitch Levy there doing a very, very good job. Been a little bit quiet, but he's in a very good position. And I tell you what, that bike of his is not moving around much, and he's a very smooth rider, is Mitch Levy.
Kane Burns also doing a great job on bike 30. The Suzuki, he started from a fair way back on the grid, so he's up running the top half dozen.
That's good to see too. Kane Burns will be heading over to the IDM Championship, and that just goes to show you how the other countries and places around the world are looking at our championship now and sending guys overseas.
What about this vision? The onboard shot of Callum Spriggs, the sprint down the main straight. Here at Sydney Motorsport Park, we still continue to ride with him. That was epic vision.
Good vision for us, but not what Callum Spriggs wants to see. He wants to see clear track in front of him because he knows to get past these three guys in front, it's not going to be an easy thing.
So it's Gunther, followed by Mitchell, then the number 68 of Mitch Levy. The ATR, all types of rubbish, Landbridge Transport entry. This is absolutely brilliant stuff. Looks like Supersport.
Looks like Sam Clark's just starting to get himself into a little bit of a rhythm now. That group is starting to stretch out. So Sam Clark is definitely running a very good place at the moment. 1 minute 33s is a good lap time around here, and Clark is at that pace at the moment.
On board again with Callum Spriggs, the Cube Racing team entry. Righty for Ben Henry, who's done such a great job at the helm of the Cube Racing team in Supersport and also Superbike, naturally. That's just putting you right into the rider's seat here.
Oh, good entry speed there by Levy on the R6. Just nips in through there, and through Yamaha corner they go.
Yeah, Levy's doing a fantastic job.
He's closed the gap up to the two guys in front at the moment. It looks to me like Sam Clark is just starting to come back to the pack a little bit.
Yeah, perhaps a fraction. Now the drag down the straight. Here's Mitchell Levy out of the slipstream. Can he go to the front? Can he hose the two of them? He's done so.
Yeah, Sam Clark goes from first to third in a foul swoop.
Mitch Levy, paralysing burst of speed down Yamaha Motor Finance straight.
But hang on, Levy's gone to second.
We ride on board with Sam Clark. He's currently in third position. Well, there's just not a dull moment here.
No, but that is a beauty. Here's a replay of the start brought to us by Suzuki. And what a start it was for number 65.
Troy Gunther.
Yep, a brilliant start for him. Leading down into Motul corner for the first time. But that manoeuvre by Sam Clark was incredible.
And this manoeuvre by Mitch Levy was even better. Yeah. Got up on the inside, but in the interim, as you can see, Luke Mitchell has come surging back. Then he has a big moment onto the main straight. He got big eyeballs there, let me tell you. And as a result, Mitch Levy surges back to the front, and here's Sam Clark too.
Yeah, Luke Mitchell got so lucky there. He got away with that one. He won't want to be doing that too much more this race, I can tell you now, David, because you do not get away with that more than once.
This could well be the best race of the season so far. New leader, Mitch Levy. Massive moment there we saw for Luke Mitchell. Watch it again.
Well, it's just got on the gas that little bit too hard with a little bit too much lean angle, and that has allowed Mitch Levy to go round the outside of Luke Mitchell, and also Kawasaki man Sam Clark got a good drive down the chute as well.
Again, we ride with Spriggs in fourth position presently.
Yeah, Spriggs is not going to be liking this, but he nips up the inside of Sam Clark there. It looks like Sam has used all the weaponry he's got at the moment, and a good start to the race for him, but he's just starting to go back through with one lap to go after this.
Yep, they've spread out a little, with Mitch Levy now in control of the race. That incident by Luke Mitchell when getting on the gas a fraction early, entering the main straight, might have shocked a couple of riders, and that's contributed to the space that we now see with our leading riders as we see the Suzuki replay of Spriggs getting up on the inside.
Yeah, on to the final lap we are now, David, and this is going to be Mitch Levy's if he can just hold it together. Easier than it sounds, as we saw earlier in the race. Luke Mitchell had that big moment on the edge of the tyre, and these tyres after 10 laps, they do get a little bit slippery.
So not far to go now for our race leader. Mitchell still in second position, followed by Callum Spriggs. And Callum Spriggs looking pretty good out there too, it must be said at the moment.
Yeah, he's looking...
Can't see them catching the leader, Steve, inside the distance.
No, Spriggs is looking very smooth now with less than half a lap to go. It looks to me like Mitch Levy has got this one in the bag. He's got a decent gap over second place at the moment. But look at Callum Spriggs. He's right on the back now of Luke Mitchell. This isn't over yet, David.
No, it's not. Let's ride with Callum Spriggs in his attempt to grab second in this race. You can see right off in the distance is Mitch Levy leading this comfortably now. Not far to go for him, but this is an intense battle, and Luke Mitchell is under siege. They're on the main straight now. The winner will be Mitch Levy. A great ride by him. The battle for second is a cracker. Callum Spriggs got there. Callum Spriggs has picked up second right on the line, relegating Luke Mitchell to third. What a race. Sam Clark next, then Goodfer, Giuseppe Scarcella, Ben Blythe, Thomas Bryden, Robbie Menzies and Chris Quinn rounding out the top 10. We thank Motul for their sponsorship of the Supersport category, supporting the Australian Superbike Championship.
Yeah, there was what a race, David. I mean, that was absolutely incredible. I mean, the way that Callum Spriggs managed to come through and get that second place. But this man, Mitch Levy, what a brilliant ride for him on the R6 Yamaha. He deserved that win. He worked hard for it. And here it is, over the line. We're on board now with Callum Spriggs, and he timed it to absolute perfection.
Incredible onboard pictures. Great ride by Mitch Levy, the New South Welshman. Entertaining race, wasn't it? Here's Crumpy.
Supersport Race 1 winner Mitch Levy. Great effort there. Looked like you were foxing a little bit first 3 or 4 laps, and then you turned the throttle on and gave him a bit of a lesson.
Yeah, that's right, Jason. We just wanted to get settled into the race and get some warmth into the tyres, and once we did that, I just pushed on and got a clear lead. So yeah.
Bike looked good. You were riding it well. Must be looking forward to race 2 now.
Yeah, super pumped for race 2. The bike's pretty good. Just make a few more tweaks. Hopefully we can go a bit further.
Callum Spriggs in second place. Great effort there towards the end of the race. Fought from 4th up to a podium position.
Yeah, I was working for it in that last half of the race. I knew I had the pace, and I was just trying to put my head down and just make the laps clean, and just, yeah, I could see everyone getting a little bit closer and closer, and I've seen Luke on the last turn have a bit of a moment in turn 12, and that sort of helped me a little bit. And then, yeah, I just made a few passes and, yeah, managed to get the second place, so yeah.
Did you feel any rain through the race? There was a few small drops here, but did it affect the track at all?
Yeah, you can see the rain spots in your visor, and it's a little bit deceiving. But the track had plenty of grip, except for the turn 11 and 12. It's just a few moments there, but yeah.
Luke Mitchell, 3rd position there. Bit of a moment towards the end of the last lap, probably cost you a 2nd place.
Yeah, I also had one during the race too that was a little bit bigger, but yeah, the race was it was intense. It was not necessarily super fast, but it's just with the droplets of rain around, it was just you couldn't know exactly how hard you could push everywhere, because it was almost changing every lap. So really happy to come away with a 3rd. Just missed out in the 2nd, but super happy.
Next Gen Motorsport is a team that has worked hard to establish itself on the national scene. Most importantly, Next Gen has proved it's a team that can run with the big budget factory outfits. And team boss Wayne Hepburn is understandably proud of their achievements.
I've probably been involved since about 2005. I rode a fair bit myself, probably not at the level I would have liked to, but I just recognised there was a huge gap from the privateers to the full factories. 2011 we won a Australian Superbike Championship with Glenn on the BMW, and yeah, it was the first privateers to do that, so we were pretty proud of ourselves.
Wayne Hepburn is a team boss that places great emphasis on the physical and mental preparation of his riders. Understandably, he says it's a vital ingredient to success.
There's so much more to this sport than just the bike and the mechanical side of it. It's, like we've got obviously that, and we've got to improve that, but also we've got to improve our riders. And yeah, so I'm actually in the middle of studying. I'm doing my Cert 3 and 4 in fitness, not to be a PT, but then I want to do a diploma in sports. And those sort of things, because I know that I've worked with top level riders, and when they're on their game, it's all mental.
Meanwhile, Sloane Frost is relishing life as a superbike racer, having recently won his maiden New Zealand domestic championship.
Obviously this year with the right team around me just made all that difference, with bringing Shane and Wayne out, and everything sort of just fitted in, and then we got the consistency that we needed, and started getting the race wins. So it's all that preparation in the pits and what the next gen boys brought to the team have just made all that difference.
So, how did Sloane Frost's association with the next gen team come to fruition?
There's a chap in New Zealand, Andrew Black, who he's always been sort of pushing me to go and race in Australia, and he gave me some financial help to get over there, and we bought a bike off a BMW off Braden Carr, and we got it to the track, and we were just having lots of problems with it. And Shane was running the BMW team at the time, and just being the good dude that he is, he was over there and swapping out ECUs and stuff, and he just saw that we were just sort of pitting out of a suitcase, and he was just in there with all his tools and spare parts and stuff, and he was just, right from the word go, he's just been a huge help and just shows what sort of dude he is.
Sloane says making the transition from racing in New Zealand to competing in the hotbed of Australian motorcycle racing, the Asbk, is more challenging than people realise.
For me, it still feels like it's a completely different, whole different environment, different bike, different. Like it doesn't feel anything like home. I'm still not comfortable here, and I'm still not comfortable on the tracks and that. And it's always tough. Even though we come into it expecting to be sort of where we are, it's always a hard pill to swallow. And when you think you can do better, and I know that I can do better, but yeah, it's a learning year, mate.
Meantime, Frost teammate Ryan Hampton, also a Kiwi, reflects on the way his entry into the next gen team evolved.
New Zealand Nationals, I rode the first series, the first round, which was at my local track Ruapuna in Christchurch. I had my best results to date in the New Zealand series. Went to the second round, which was Timaru. Ended up doing 7 laps of the first practice session and noticed a noise in the motor. Ended up being a terminal failure, so after 7 laps that was me done. And we were pitted with Sloane, which had both Shane and Wayne from Next Gen within the same premises, and got talking to them, and from that the conversation ended up being an opportunity to ride at the first round of the Australian Championship back in 2015 with an opportunity that they gave me. It's led to now, and we'll keep progressing forward as hard as we can.
Thanks for joining us on Fox Sports wherever you're watching around Australia. Before the action continues, let's go to Steve Martin, who's with one of the stars of Moto3.
Taylor Ralph, I've got to say, very impressed. To be in your presence. I've won a Superbike race before, but do you know that you're the first female to win an Australian Superbike Championship race? And that really must mean a lot to you. How do you feel?
Yeah, when I came across the line, I was just pumped. I got, some footage going over the finish line, which is a massive fist pump. I was so happy. Didn't realise I was the first female to ever win an Australian Superbike race. So when Braxy told me that and commentating, I was just, absolutely stoked about it. So it was a great weekend.
I got to imagine growing up, your mum and dad, you've gone up to them and you said, you know what, I don't want a horse, I don't want dolls, I want a motorbike. How did this happen?
So 3 years old, somehow just loved it. They took me to a Crusty Demons race meet, and just ever since then I knew I wanted to ride a motorbike. And it was a bit slow when I first started, and then all of a sudden it just clicked for me, and first female to win a race.
What are your aspirations? We've got the Crank Protein Honda team behind us, and you're in the Moto3 class riding a Honda now. But could you see yourself one day? Is it an aspiration to perhaps move up to a Superbike one day?
Honestly, that would be anyone's dream come true, especially to ride for, Cranked Honda as a, professional rider. It'd be an absolute dream come true. I love my Honda Moto3, and I feel like I'm the perfect size for it. So obviously, if I get a little bit taller and get a little bit stronger, I might be able to do it one day.
Last question for you, Taylor. Now, when it's your birthday, you're the only girl that I know that would love to receive a set of tyres, and your partner, your best friend, your boyfriend, he's a racer also. What do you guys talk about when you're at dinner?
When we're out at dinner, that's all we talk about. It's all we talk about, at home, when we go out. It's literally all we do. It's all we spend our money on. So, he got me a set of tyre warmers from Christmas, and I was stoked. And even Mum and Dad, they were just, laughing to themselves, just thinking, what daughter, gets excited about tyre warmers for Christmas. So, yeah, it's great.
Taylor, I've got to say thank you very much. It's really great to get a little bit of an insight into your life, and I look forward to seeing you out on track.
Thanks, Steve, and well done to Taylor Ralph on the job she's doing in the Moto3 125cc Grand Prix class. We'll now take this opportunity on the program to have a look at some highlights packages of some of the other categories, and we start with Moto3. A lot of rain has now fallen at Sydney Motorsport Park, and the New South Wales rider Tom Edwards on bike 71 leading the way home at this juncture.
Yeah, Tom, brand new to the sport, really, under the wing of Casey Stoner's dad, Colin, and it's definitely good to see that guys like that. But we also had a lot of crashes in this race. Brian Horton, the first faller in these slippery conditions.
Yeah, Taylor Ralph, meantime, has gone to the front on bike 28. Here's Horton sliding off the circuit.
Just lost the front end there, easy to do. Oh, Taylor Ralph also went down. She hit the white line, and that's a bit of a blemish for her. Yesterday, she won her first ever Australian Championship race, and off in the wet today.
That's a bell ringer, Steve.
Lessons learned.
The head hitting the bitumen, and you can see Taylor up quickly to her feet, but expressing a dissatisfaction. And another one goes down.
That's Ben Leonard, and that is in exactly the same circumstances. These young kids need to learn that those white lines are slippery.
Yeah, so Ben Leonard from the Queenslander, but when they went across the line, Tom Edwards emerging the victor on the Honda NSF 250, defeating Lockie Taylor and Lachlan Keogh in the third and final Moto3 race of the weekend. Here's Jason with the round winner.
Round winner for our Moto3 category was Lockie Taylor, the 14-year-old from the Gold Coast. Lockie, well done. Must have been a bit sketchy in that last race in the rain.
Yeah, it was real sketchy. I just knew that I'd just stay on and finish the race, not do anything stupid. So yeah, when I was going out, I've seen Taylor fall off, and then I seen Ben fall off. So I thought, it's really slippery. So I thought I'll just take it easy.
Wise head on young shoulders there. Good experience though, and you must be enjoying the extra competition of having Tommy Edwards in the round this weekend.
Yeah, he's really fast, and it's good competition, so yeah, I love it.
Yeah, Lockie, just 14 years of age, incredible. Here's a check of the progress points for the season in Moto3. Brian Horton leading on 186. Lockie Taylor is next, then Dylan Whiteside, Taylor Ralph, Tom Edwards, Ben Leonard and Lachlan Keogh. We now turn our attention to the production class and highlights of their third race of the day. A lot of rain around at this juncture of the afternoon, but a very good field in production. And best to begin, the rider of bike 85, Ty Lynch.
Yeah, good to see the young South Australian get the whole shot in the start of these very difficult conditions out there. First time that our R3 boys have ridden in the wet conditions, and to be fair, they all rode beautifully.
Yeah, Callum Alderson, the Victorian, on machine 58, was prominent early in this one. And you're right, you say the riders rode brilliantly. Not that many mishaps despite the obvious inclement weather. You could see there on that wider shot down the main straight, Callum Alderson had opened up about a 4-bike length lead in advance of his nearest rivals. Justin Hall there on machine 1, running strongly as always.
Yeah, he was right up at the front throughout most of the weekend, and brought it home well with the 6th place finish in the end.
So good battle up front here with Alderson.
It's good to see the mix as well now in this production class. We've got a mixture of obviously the Kawasaki Ninja 300, and then also we've got the introduction this year of the R3, the 320 as well out there. So more bikes coming into this production class, and as a result we've got much bigger fields and much more competitive racing, which makes these young riders really have to fight for those positions.
Production, this class has always been one of the closest forms of motorcycle racing. And on this occasion, we can see the New South Wales base rider, number 55, Brandon Demery, has gone to the front.
Yeah, Brandon had a cracker of a race. He's actually having a cracker of a series, actually. The young New South Wales rider, of course, raced in Asia last year, and also on an R6. He's moved back into this series now. And of course, he's got some big sponsors behind him, including Green TX50. And that was the team that helped Anthony West get the podium at Phillip Island in the World Supersport earlier on in the year. So a big team there for Demery.
Big ride here from Jack Mahaffey, bike 37, giving plenty of cheek. Checkered flag inside here. And in the slipstream, or coming out of the slipstream, is Brandon Demery to claim a very good victory in the final production race of the afternoon. It was Demery defeating Jack Mahaffey, who got to the front inside the last racing lap, And Callum Alderson officially placed third. Great stuff from the production bikes. As you look now at Callum Alderson, the Victorian. And that's Brandon Demery on screen. And he'd be well pleased with himself, taking a tremendous victory there. We'll now look at the championship points for production. And it is Samuel Condon leading in advance of Drew Sells and Justin Hall, followed by Reed Batty. ...2016 sees the introduction of an all-new class on the national scene that has been created to provide aspiring road racers with a cost-effective entry category. Thus, the Yamaha R3 Cup was inaugurated. And so far this season, the new class has produced the goods, exciting racing and increasing grid numbers. Former World Endurance Champion Steve Martin spoke with Yamaha Asbk team boss John Redding about the fledgling category.
John, tell us a little bit about the concept of this new R3 Cup.
Well, this year the R3 is being promoted as a racer with the kit that we've developed for the local market. But internationally, the R3 and its younger brother, the R25, have actually they're being raced in many markets around the world. So there is an international movement to race these motorcycles, and the intention is to bring new people into road racing.
Yeah, I mean the price, $7,900, that's the bike and the race kit. Pick the bike up, a turnkey race bike with all the road gear to go with it, so you can sell it at the end of the year or when you're finished racing it. I mean, that's a very attractive deal.
Yes, yeah, we tried to make it as attractive as we possibly could, because we do realise that racing is based on economics, and a lot of people struggle when they come off of, especially off-road racing, going road racing, because there's definitely a lot more costs involved.
What do you think the future is going to be from this? Can you see, like, already when you look at the young guys in this class, is that something that Yamaha yourself, the top guys in Yamaha might look at and say, well, there's a prospective Yamaha rider to move up to the Superbike team in a few years' time?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, at this stage, the R3 Cup has complemented our whole sort of step-up program that we have, where we have, the R3 Cup now. Now, someone could easily graduate from that, go onto the YRD support program, and then if they're good enough to go through to the factory team.
The Yamaha R3 Cup provides riders with more than just an opportunity to purchase a motorcycle at a bargain basement price. Australia's triple World Speedway champion Jason Crump is impressed with the additional benefits.
The Yamaha R3 Cup is a great entry level into road racing for a lot of young motorcyclists. Yamaha as a factory have also invested a lot of time and effort into it. You can see one of their initiatives at each round is to bring their factory riders, guys like Wayne Maxwell, Glenn Allerton and Crew Halliday, in to help these young guys out. As we can see here, Wayne's taken time out of his busy race day schedule to walk the track with the young riders and point out some of the finer points of the circuit.
Wayne Maxwell, who was qualified on pole position at Sydney Motorsport Park this weekend, says he enjoys providing the sport's rising talent with expert tuition.
Yeah, look, I just spoke to them about how to ride the bike. I said the two best riders in the world don't ride the same. Me and say Glenn in our team, we don't ride the same. And between what they're doing now and my experience and what they can learn off some of the other guys out there, the potential is that they can, one day fill a seat at Yamaha factory racing team.
Yeah, and look, the fact that you guys take time out of your busy schedules and put some effort in with the young fellas is really good, because as we all know, riders need to learn from the top guys.
Yeah, exactly. As you know, Jason, you've helped out plenty of people in your time, and I mean, for me, that's where I was once a young rider, looking for the help, and I couldn't get it. So, for me, it's special to be able to, have that opportunity to give back to these guys, and it's something that I want to get involved in, and I'm really passionate about.
Callum Alderson typifies the young riders that have eagerly accepted the challenge of riding in the inaugural Yamaha R3 Cup. He says the coaching from riders such as Wayne Maxwell is a massive bonus.
Yeah, Wayne's just been showing us the correct line and the correct way to enter the corner with a big sweeping line and keep the top speed up and the RPMs high, just so we can sweep through the corner and keep it tucked without leaning over too much and sacrificing top speed.
Yamaha, in conjunction with the sport's peak body, Motorcycling Australia, have also arranged classroom-style sessions to provide riders with a further insight into the art of road racing.
Darren Skabiris from Race Centre is one of the guys that actually provide all the technical help and backup to the R3 Cup guys. Darren, would you like to explain your role in helping all these young fellas out during the course of the race weekend?
Yeah, sure. Obviously it's an entry-level class, so one of the big things that a lot of these guys don't have experience with is necessarily knowing how to work on the bike, what spare parts they might need. So what our job is to provide a spare parts store so that if they need anything, we've got it in stock and they don't need to carry it to the racetrack. We also have got a crew of 4 mechanics that go around to anybody that needs help, provide them guidance, provide some mechanical assistance if they need be, and even things like just explaining how the schedule works, helping them get to scrutineering, checking over their bikes before they get to scrutineering to make sure everything's right. And then the idea is throughout the year, we'll provide, they'll learn from us, learn from our experience, you know, from our years of racing, and yeah, give them that experience.
Good to have you with us. Of course, the Yamaha R3 Cup. You're now right across it, having seen that feature story. We now present highlights of that class's second race of the day. Callum Alderson, Zach Levy, Aidan Hayes occupy the first 3 spots on the grid. You can see there are 13 riders involved in this race. Round 2 action, Sydney Motorsport Park. It is a great idea, the Yamaha R3 Cup. This class on our television coverage presented by Yamaha Motor Finance, and underway in the final R3 Cup race of the day. And bike 46 got a flyer, Aidan Hayes from New South Wales.
Callum Anderson as well got a great start into turn 1 here at Eastern Creek and leads the field away. And these are very difficult conditions for these guys. As the production guys, it's the first time in the wet for these R3 Cup boys as well. And girls. We've got boys and girls out there, we might as well mention that.
Yeah, Jack Mahaffey is a rider that we mentioned in the production class. He featured prominently in our highlights package that we showed you on the program a little earlier. Well, that's him on bike 37, running second in this race.
Yeah, it's good to see him out, and that's the other beautiful thing about this R3 Cup is you can cross-enter. You can enter in this class and ride this bike also in the production class. So it really does make sense. We heard the figures, just over $7,000. You can buy one of these machines and start racing them. They come with all the road fairings as well, plus everything you need to race it. And you can even get it on a finance package through Yamaha. Doesn't get any easier than that, David.
Callum Alderson, meantime, maintains the race lead on bike number 58, but he is certainly not cruising. That's because Jack Mahaffey on 37 is right behind him. And then Ty Lynch, the South Australian, tucked into third on bike number 85.
Yeah, good to see Ty Lynch up there, the young South Australian rider. Really impressing me with the way that he's been performing. He hasn't seen any of these tracks before either. So to come here, first time at Eastern Creek in these wet conditions and be running up near the front. Oh, we've got a faller.
Yeah, that's Mahaffey on bike 37.
And that, David, just goes to show you how easy it can happen in these conditions.
Yeah, indeed. Across the start-finish line. And, of course, he's not the first rider to make an unexpected off-track excursion today. You can see also Aidan Hayes, who got a really good start in this race on 46, now going right around the outside. It was a bold move, but it has paid off. He now secures second on the racetrack.
Yeah, good move there by Hayes, and good to see him. You see he's got his knee on the ground there in the wet, so very brave Aidan Hayes at the moment. And the thing is, if you can get your knee on the ground, it can actually give you some confidence. But you have to be careful on these little bikes that you don't get too much lean angle. Too much lean angle, and you're not going to make it to the end.
Just explain to the uninitiated watching what you mean by that. If you get your knee on the ground, it gives you some confidence as we watch the Suzuki replay of the start.
Well, basically what it means is that you get towards the edge of the tyre, which on a slick it's okay because you have lots of grip, or even in the dry you have lots of grip and lots of feel. But of course in these changing conditions, the back can come around, and we've seen how slippery that area of the circuit is, and it's a very slippery spot, and we've seen 2 or 3 people fall there this weekend. So basically, the more you lean in the wet, the conditions are changing, that back can come around. You've got to try and do the turn with less lean angle.
Okay, well explained. Our highlights continuing of the Yamaha R3 Cup and its final race of the weekend. In fairly treacherous conditions now.
Michael King from Western Australia also doing a great job.
Oh, another crasher. Stepping off the bike, it was Aidan Hayes.
Yes, similar sort of circumstances there. He just lost the rear end, and you just get that little bit too confident, push that little bit harder, and then it's all over before you know it.
So Callum Alderson now leading Ty Lynch. Michael King is third on bike number 25. Look at that.
Yeah, back comes around. Nice little high side there for him. Obviously he's okay though. Of course, racetracks, and especially this Eastern Creek, very safe.
Yeah, look, that is one of the great things about this venue. Plentiful runoff areas, and across the start-finish line charges Callum Alderson, who now embarks on his final lap and is well clear.
Yeah, definitely. He's got a decent lead at the moment, riding very, very smoothly. Got everything in hand, and he really did show the field the way round this race, the final race here of the R3 Cup.
Yeah, Alderson about 3.5 seconds clear of his nearest rival. That's Ty Lynch. You currently watch him on the right-hand side of screen. And Michael King. Zach Levy, who did such a great job in the previous round at Sydney Motorsport Park, out of camera shot, I can tell you is running in 4th position on bike 87.
Absolutely, and once again that just goes to show you that the weather and changing conditions can bring different people to the fore. So it's it's good for the championship that we've had this rain, and it's good for these young riders as well, because it gives them a lot of experience that they can draw on later on in their racing career.
So this Yamaha R3 Cup race approaching its completion. You can see there under brakes the back of the Alderson machine got a little unstable.
Yeah, I really like the way that Callum Alderson's riding that bike though. He's nice and smooth, a little bit of movement there, keeps it under control, doesn't do anything silly, and he's not really backing off too much either. Sometimes if you back off, David, that's when things happen. You need to keep your confidence up, and you need to keep that speed up and keep that rhythm up to get the bike to the end in one piece. Look at the 2 boys behind him using all the track and a little bit more.
Yep, he approaches Yamaha corner at the top or the eastern side of this circuit. Double apex left hand up, and will prepare for the run down Yamaha Motor Finance Straight for the final time, and therefore accrue maximum points in race 3 of the Yamaha R3 Cup. Got the job done comfortably, and Callum Alderson, too good for his rivals in the R3 Cup race, the finale for the weekend for this category, and defeats his nearest rival by 3.62 seconds. That was Ty Lynch, the South Australian. We'll recap them for you now. Michael King in third on board bike 25. Then Levy, Hunter Ford, James Boyle, Stephen Mason, and so the remainder find their way home to the checkered flag. So Alderson rode with great maturity there, kept the conditions in check, as we now take you down to Jason Crump.
Ty Lynch, 3rd place overall in round 3 at Sydney Motorsport Park. You happy with the result?
It's been an awesome weekend. I've been sort of struggled with a bit of setup yesterday morning, and worked our way through it. Managed to sort of get the bike prepared, and then started to rain and threw us right in the deep end. So we had a good weekend. Managed to get the bike set up really well for the wet.
Zach Levy, 2nd place overall for the 3rd round at Sydney Motorsport Park. A difficult weekend, a couple of races in the dry and then a wet race at the end.
Yeah, it has been a difficult weekend. I haven't really had it my own way like I did in the last round, but it's been a good round, consistent, and I'm happy to come away with 2nd, because it's many rounds to go in the championship, and you're not going to win a championship from winning. Well, you probably will from every race, but you need to finish every race, so it's important.
Great weekend for you. Must have been really happy with the way things turned out in some tricky conditions out there.
Yeah, look, we had a perfect weekend per se. I didn't take 3 from 3 in the production championship, but I took pole position and 3 from 3 in the R3 Cup, which is my main category, and Yamaha provided a great package for me to gel with so fast, and the Pirelli tyres and gas suspension, I can't fault at the moment. We've had a perfect round, and there's no more to say than that. I had a great time.
Okay, let's check the championship points at the completion of 2 rounds. Callum Alderson 3 points clear of Zach Levy, then Hunter Ford and Ty Lynch. They round out the top 4. Nice to have you with us on Fox Sports, wherever you might be with us around Australia. Next up, it is Super Sport for race 2. Let's go to Jason.
Well, we said earlier in the day that the heavens could open up, and they have before our Super Sport 600 race 2. The conditions are not perfect. They're not properly wet, but probably just leading towards wet weather tyres. I don't think any of the riders this year have had a chance to do much riding in the wet. Callum Spriggs, have you had a chance to ride in the wet at all this year?
No, the last time I would have rode in the wet would have been, I did a little at Wakefield. One of the practice sessions was half wet, half dry. But I've never rode in the Pirelli wet, so it should be interesting. So I see how I go, and yeah, I think it's going to be you'll find a few people from the back of the field maybe come through, I don't know, but yeah, I'm just going to do my best and see if I can get a good feel at the start of the race.
Never know, your teammate, Australian dirt track champion Robbie Menzies, might be able to push his weight around a little bit in the slippery conditions.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I hope he goes well, so good luck to Robbie and hope he does well.
Good luck, mate, well done. Yeah, the riders are probably a little bit nervous in this 600 category. None of them have really got a lot of experience of riding in the rain, so it is going to be an interesting race, and let's hope for their sakes that they all keep it sensible and manage to stay on and finish the event.
All right, Jason has adequately set the scene. A lot of precipitation around at Sydney Motorsport Park. Olivier will start on pole bike 81. He sensationally crashed out on the warm-up lap in race 1. Gunther and Spriggs sharing the front row with him. Then Mitchell and Levy, Clark. On the next row, it's Blythe, Quinn and Scarcella, followed by Bryden, Kyoto and Menzies, Burns from deep in the pack, Knight and Collins, Spinks, Limonton and Price, Anthony Quinn, Reese and Lee, Russell, White and Cox, Maggs, Russell and Simons. Big field of 600 Super Sports, and this race scheduled for 10 laps. Start is imminent. Tricky conditions. Olivier, he got a fair bit of back wheel spin when he released the clutch, lost some ground there. In fact, the pole sitter is back to 10th already. Best to begin there, an absolute flyer was Sam Clark, who was splendid in the previous race as well. Will they all negotiate the first couple of corners safely, Steve Martin?
Yeah, this is going to be a hard one to predict because none of these guys have had a lot of wet weather experience. We heard Jason talking to the guys. They're feeling the conditions out. This is the first time it's been wet here this weekend as well. So we're all on wets and they just have to feel it. And we're already seeing, is that Luke Mitchell? Oh, we've got a faller. We've got somebody down already.
That's Kane Burns on bike 30 who got a screamer of a start. Now on the grass, and I noticed at the top of the picture another rider had flown over the top of the handlebars just as Kane Burns came into contact with the ground. We'll check on that and come back and see if we can get a replay for you. Meantime, Sam Clark has broken away from the group, Steve.
Yeah, Sam Clark doing an absolute fantastic job out front. But these boys have to be careful. It's very early in this race. They can't afford to get throttle happy or they're going to end up going over the handlebars like we've seen two do already.
Yeah, plenty of horsepower. You turn it on at the wrong part or at the wrong time, and you're going to pay the price.
I mean, this circuit hasn't been asphalted for a long time. We've got a red flag out, David. Red flag.
Yeah, Mitch Levy had moved into second spot. The red flag has been called. So this race, originally scheduled for 10 laps, could well be reduced in distance as a result. So let's look at this.
That's Kane Burns gone down.
Yep, now watch at the top of the picture. Watch this.
That's Callum Spriggs through. There's Chris Quinn. That's...
there.
Yeah, that. I didn't catch who that was. Kyoto. Mark Kyoto's gone down as well.
You can do a Marquez here.
Look at them. They're busily repairing that bike. They're hopefully going to get that ready and get him back out on the circuit. They're working hard on Mark Kyoto's bike in the pit. And look, he's going to make it back out.
Well, that's incredible. So the pit's a beehive of activity. So a race punctuated by drama during the early stages.
And incredibly, Mark Kyoto back out for the restart.
And look at the rain. So restart, race 2, Super Sport presented by Motul. On our Fox Sports coverage, organisers still sticking with the 10-lap duration. I reckon if there's another stoppage, that may change, however. So we get them underway. Sam Clark this time has relinquished the lead, and you'll find it is Mitch Levy on bike 68 leading, although here comes Clark up on the inside. Brave stuff under brakes in these conditions, and Clark gets there.
Yep, and Callum Spriggs as well. Callum Spriggs right up there on the number 50 Cube Racing ZX6 as they head round the right-hander down into Pirelli corner for the first time. This is where we saw some of the guys coming off in that first part of the race. Looks like everyone through there quite safely this time.
You can see on the onboard shot, well, you won't get a better idea of what the riders are enduring at the moment, conditions-wise, out on the circuit. The onboard showing the water. Visibility not good, is it, if you're deep in the pack?
Definitely not, but good to see Robbie Menzies up there as well. The Troy Bayliss protege on the Cube Racing machine is right up there in the mix as well. So he's having a good run out in these conditions, and there he is, coming from a background of dirt tracking. He's probably used to this slippery surface.
Need to clarify, Steve, that incident earlier that led to the red flag of the race was Matty Price on bike 26. That was him that we saw at the top of the screen flying over the handlebars. Now, meantime, a noteworthy performance. Kane Burns is running second on bike number 30. We saw him come off at the first attempt of running this race.
Yeah, and good to see him. It means that two of the guys that came off in that first part of this race have been able to repair their bikes and get back out on track. So good for Kane Burns. Of course, he's heading off to Germany to race next week, so it's good for him to get the experience and confidence to be able to run at the front of this field in these conditions.
Indeed, and when I talk about Kane Burns, no surprise that he's quick in the wet, because he is a former dirt tracker, so he's well and truly used to the back of the bike sliding around.
You know what, this Sam Clark is, he comes from a long way away, Western Australia, but he's really starting to impress me. Not only is he fast in the dry, first time here, he's super fast in the wet as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's the sign of someone with a special talent if you can do it in the wet. The Suzuki replay of the race start from a different angle. The wider shot with the camera in the grandstand. Now the more head-on shot located down near turn number 1. And you can see there the 36 machine of Sam Clark got an absolute stormer. But Mitch Levy, he was the best to begin early. Took the lead for, well, only a few seconds before Clark came back up on the inside.
Yeah, but there's still a long way to go in this one. On board now with one of the front runners.
Look out the slush. There's Callum Spriggs, bike 50.
This is the scariest part of the race for these guys. You can see someone out wide there.
Absolutely. All of that for Suzuki, and we thank them for their support. Meanwhile, lap 4 of 10 in our highlights package of this Supersport race presented by Motul. Second race of the weekend. Gee, the first event earlier today in dry conditions, and arguably the best race of the season. What about that for a moment?
Yeah, that was a big moment there for number 77, Robbie Menzies, getting away with it. He probably hasn't crashed on the wet in the bitumen yet, but if he keeps riding like that, he's going to find out how much it hurts, because he really did have a bit of a slide there. But it's all about the learning process.
Yeah, Menzies a Queenslander. There's plenty of big wraps on this rider, doing it for the Cube Racing team. Look here for Suzuki.
Just carries a little bit too much lean angle, knee on the ground, foot off the peg, gathers it all up, doesn't run out of tarmac, takes a deep breath, gets back on with the job. Right behind Kane Burns he is now, and he hasn't let that moment bother him at all.
Kane Burns was one of the stars of last season's Supersport category. He took the fight up to eventual champion Braden Elliott throughout the season. We see here now under brakes he is overtaken by Robbie Menzies. But yeah, Burns, he won a race in the Supersport class last season and went on to finish second to Braden Elliott in the championship outright.
I'm still very impressed by Robbie Menzies though. It's very difficult to find the limits in the wet. Like, everything feels good right up until it doesn't. But Robbie Menzies seems to be adapting very well. Look at the lead that the two out front have got at the moment. It's a massive lead. Sam Clark doing a brilliant job up front at the moment.
You can see there Menzies had a moment. That camera located at the top of the circuit captured Menzies on the rear sliding slightly. That enabled Burns to move up. That's a replay of Menzies moving up one spot, overtaking Burns, who left the room on the inside.
Sam Clark now coming past some of the back markers. Just nice and clean. He's got good feel there on his R6. Oh, we've got a fall. That's Burns. Yeah, Burns has gone down. He looks like he doesn't look comfortable there either. He's obviously okay, but that's brought out the red flag, David.
He's not well this time. And the race safe medical crew on the scene quickly, and organisers deciding to declare the race. Right decision. Conditions are fairly perilous at the moment, so race 2 results: Clark, Spriggs, Menzies, Levy, Quinn, Blythe, Olivier, then Scarcella, Collins and Gunther rounding out the top 10. You can see the remaining riders and the positions they were awarded with the race declaration. A big thanks to Motul, who bring us the Supersport action as a part of our television coverage as the major support category to the Australian Superbike Championship. So quite a good weekend for Sam Clark. Conditions deteriorating here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Let's head down to Jason Crump for the latest.
Robbie, you must be very, very happy with that. Step onto the podium in the wet, great effort.
Yeah, we've been working pretty hard all weekend, and we had good results in the dry, but yeah, never expected to be getting on the podium in the wet. We went out with a setup that we thought would be good, and never been out before. First time on the Pirelli wets, and it was awesome. I had a couple of moments, but that was going to happen, I think, so it was good to get that out of the way.
Yeah, it was definitely sketchy coming up towards the race. Didn't know what it was going to be, and getting the bike ready, and yeah, I managed first time on the Pirelli wets, and yeah, they weren't too bad, so yeah, they hooked up well and managed to get second place, so I can't complain too much, but a win would have been nice. So, but yeah, Sam was riding awesome, and yeah, Robbie, first time in the wet and first podium, so congrats to my teammate Robbie, so yeah, good on him.
An Englishman, what else would you expect but to be winning a race in the rain?
Yeah, you know, we're obviously from Perth. You know, I was born in England, but you know, we don't get much rain in Perth, so you know, it's all actually quite new to us. You know, I have ridden in the rain a few times, so I've known I'm pretty comfortable in the rain, sort of thing. But you know, at this stage, it's mainly about points. You know, after crashing at our PI in the last race, you know, we lost a lot of points, sort of thing. But every race we finished a set for one. We've been on the podium.
Very focused young man is Sam Clark. Here's the championship in Supersport at the completion of 3 rounds. Roy Gunther leading Sam Clark by 6 points. Then a small break to Callum Spriggs, Luke Mitchell, Ben Blythe, Chris Quinn and Ted Collins.
Winner of round 3 of the Supersport 600 class, Mitch Levy. Mitch, brilliant ride in race 1. Race 2 probably didn't quite go to plan, but you did what you needed to do in the wet conditions.
Yeah, thanks. That's right. Race 1 was unreal. Got away with the win, but the wet race I struggled a little bit just with grip, but did what we could to win the round and stoked to do so.
One of our true privateers in the Asbk Championship this year is Melbourne-based Trent Gibson. Trent, you've been racing for quite a few years on and off, a bit of experience in the AMA Championship in America. Stopped racing for a year and a half or so, but back on the bike now and enjoying it?
Yeah, really enjoyed it. I really missed it, so it's been a lot of fun getting back into it, and hopefully over this year I can build myself back up and get back up on the pace.
It's a tough sport to be a privateer in. We noticed today that you struggled a little bit with some clutch issues. You had your laptop out Googling the solutions to that. Must be tough and challenging being a privateer in this paddock.
It is, not having all the mechanics and all the help. YRD do give us a bit of help with the bikes and parts, so where it goes very much appreciated, but getting mechanics, getting time to spend on working on the bike when you're working full time, it's quite difficult.
So over the course of the race weekend, what do? You have a couple of friends, a couple of mates that come and help you out at the racetrack?
Pretty much. I've got my dad, my girlfriend here and another mate helping out. And that's about it, you know, but they all put in hard and work hard, and hopefully, you know, all get a good result over the weekend.
Okay, Superbike and their second race of the day, presented by Yamaha Motorcycle Insurance, is next. Here's Jason.
Well, the rain has come. It's not probably as heavy as what we thought it was going to be, and it has actually stopped now just before the start of the Superbike race. But I want to have a quick word with Glenn Allerton, because from all reports, Glenn Allerton is a bit of a wet weather specialist. Were you out doing a rain dance, Len, or would you have preferred it dry?
No, I'd prefer it dry. It's too stressful, this wet weather stuff, but yeah, it's pretty wet at the moment, so I can't see that dry tyres would work at the moment. But yeah, it's going to be a challenge. There's a couple of rivers running across the track, so it's going to be who's smart and a little bit brave is going to be the best here at Savo.
Good luck, man.
Thanks.
Enjoy it. Yeah, he seems pretty confident, pretty comfortable. I think he's underplaying his desire for a bit of water there a little bit. But Troy Herfoss is a renowned dirt tracker. I don't think you would have been too worried about a little bit of rain, Troy.
No, I don't think it matters how many times you've been in the wet, whatever track, dirt track, anywhere in the world, ice racing. When it rains, mate, and you haven't done any practice, it's just scary.
I actually don't believe that, because I know your abilities on a motorbike, and I think you're underplaying it a little bit. I'm actually backing you a little bit here for this race. I expect to see something pretty special.
Thanks, Crumpy. We've just got to keep the championship intact and see how we go.
Okay, good luck with it, and ride smart. Daniel Falzon's also actually another rider I was speaking to just before, and he didn't actually seem too bothered about whether it was wet or dry. So, Daniel, we've spoken to a couple of the guys at the front of the grid. They're not so happy about the wet weather. I know before I spoke to you and you said, I don't care if it rains, I'll still go out and race.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's wet for everyone, and I'm excited. It throws a bit of a spanner in the works for the championship, and anything can happen in a wet race. The advantages that some teams may have, they seem to diminish in the wet, and I look forward to this race. I really have no idea how we're going to go, but be sure that I'm going to put in 100% this one.
All right, we recap the grid now for the second Superbike race of the afternoon. Maxwell, the pole sitter, and the winner of race 1 starts on pole position. Allerton, his teammate beside him, then Mike Jones, the reigning Australian champion. Troy Herfoss, Crew Halliday and Daniel Falzon occupy row 2. Matty Walters, who got a stormer of a start in the first race, he's joined by Stauffer and Blair, then Burke, Elliott and Frost, Galloway, Harding and Gibson. Down the grid we go, Hampton, Senior and Schmidt, Rendon, Griffin and Dutton, Berry, Spiteri and Baird, Marsh and Keogh at the back of this impressive field, who now face vastly different circumstances to the opening race today. We've had a crasher in the warm-up lap. They'll take no part in this one. So here we go. Almost race time. Second leg of Superbike action. Can anyone stop the Wayne Maxwell juggernaut? He got a good start, but look at Falzon again. My goodness, he can start quickly. Troy Herfoss, however, reigns supreme early in proceedings here. He goes to the front. They're all a little conservative, which is well and truly understandable given the conditions.
Yeah, these conditions could suit Herfoss, of course. Round winner last time out at Wakefield Park. Didn't have such a great race won by his standards, but he's doing a good job. Leads the pack through on the first lap at the moment with Wayne Maxwell behind him, right where he needs to be. Falzon up there too. Crew Halliday as well.
Glenn Allerton is third. Stauffer is the next man through on the Crank Protein Honda entry, bike number 27. He'll probably appreciate these conditions and the dawdling pace, given that he's recovering from fairly serious injuries sustained at Wakefield Park in a testing crash, and that was off the back of a major accident at Phillip Island in the opening round of the title.
Still fairly wet out there at the moment, David. On board with Troy Herfoss as we look back towards Wayne Maxwell. These guys will give themselves a couple of laps to bed into this circuit and get a good feel for these tyres. I mean, they would have watched the Supersport race earlier on in the day intently to see how their respective brands of tyres were reacting on the circuit.
Well, Wayne Maxwell grabbed pole.
Oh, Elliott connects with one of the
Next Gens.
Yeah, the Next Gen Motorsport team bikes.
Luckily, they didn't come to grief.
That's Sloane Frost again. He's having a bit of a busy day.
That was fortuitous, wasn't it? Could have been nasty. We can see here they close up, and the gap between the top 3 or so is minuscule. Trying to come to terms with the circuit.
Simon Galloway there on the number 46 R1. He's having a great ride, the New South Welshman.
Maxwell goes to the front to run down the main straight. He got the slipstream benefit on Troy Herfoss, who was leading. So Maxwell now fairly cautiously through that left-hander at the end of the main straight, as they all are. Now, lap times, I was just about to talk about the fact that Maxwell grabbed pole with a time of 1 minute 29 odd. I'd reckon in these conditions, most of the laps will probably be around the 144s, 145s.
Yeah, they will. That's about right. They normally are about 10 to 15 seconds slower in the wet conditions with the wet tyres. And if they really get going, they'll get down into like the lower 40s, 43, something like that. But yet to be seen who will pick up that pace and who's willing to risk the most. I mean, it's difficult for the guys up the front at the moment. You've got the 3 guys leading the championship up there. Probably the man with the most to risk at the moment is Mike Jones, sitting back there in 5th or 6th position on the tail end of this group.
Yeah, Falzon is 4th. We just saw the onboard shot from the Caterpillar Yamaha R1. It was noticeable listening to the audio of that onboard shot just how gentle he was being on the throttle.
Oh, they have to be. They really do. I mean, 200 horsepower basically out of these machines. You do not want to twist that throttle too much. They've all got electronics on these bikes now that soften the power right off and make it a lot easier to ride. But nevertheless, it's very hard to tame these beasts in these conditions.
Now on board with Herfoss, who is involved in a great battle with Glenn Allerton. You look at him on bike number 14.
Yeah, you can just see how nervous Allerton's bike was then too. Very, very nervous. Not a lot of feel in these conditions compared to the dry conditions. And you just have to get on the gas so smooth. Allerton a little bit earlier on the gas there, uses the superior speed of the R1 and nips straight past, as does Falzon. Falzon looks like he's going to nip up the inside too.
Yeah, Falzon and Herfoss approach the left-hander at the end of the straight side by side. And the South Australian Falzon gains the upper hand there, so he moves into 3rd. The race order is Maxwell, Allerton, Falzon and Herfoss. Rounds out the top 4. Then Stauffer and Mike Jones just behind them.
You know what? If there's ever a time for Falzon to give it everything he's got, it's right now. He's in contention for a podium at the moment. He's looks like he's settling in nicely to this race. And oh, as I say that, he's gone down the hill.
You don't see Daniel Falzon throw it on the road very often. He's okay.
He is. Look at that. He's up already, running to the bike, and I'll tell you what, he's a fighter. If that machine will run, he'll get back on it and keep going.
Indeed. So, you can see Allerton had a moment there on the exit of Yamaha Motor Finance turn.
You know, we heard Crumpy talking about this at the start of the race. It's not really, really wet out there at the moment. It's still like drying conditions, and sometimes in these conditions, these wet weather tyres don't work quite as well.
Simon Galloway's running strongly on bike 46.
That's that moment earlier on with Adam Senior went down the inside of Braden Elliott, who took
Sloane Frost.
Yeah, Sloane Frost out with him, so another moment. And there's the big moment on the Suzuki replay where Daniel Falzon bit the dust and lost 3rd position. Herfoss nearly got caught up in that one. And Jamie Stauffer there in the background. Look at him taking avoiding action.
Yeah, evasive action. He didn't know where to go. And this is the onboard vision for Suzuki from the Daniel Falzon machine. And you can bet your life a number of the riders that saw that happen were very cautious about the whereabouts of the bike that was sliding out of control down the road.
Look at Simon Galloway go. He's right on the back of some very fancied runners there at the moment.
Doing well. Now we take the onboard from the Mike Jones machine. It'll probably be the only onboard that's not covering or with water covering the lens because of where it's located on the bike. It's a nice shot. Look at the concentration of Mike Jones.
Well, Mike Jones's eyes are big at any time, but right now they're the biggest I've ever seen them.
Dish plates behind the visor. Have a look at that for focus.
Yeah, he needs to though, because he didn't have a very good run last time out at Wakefield Park. Had a couple of mediocre results there, so he needs to get himself back in this championship. And with Troy Herfoss behind him right now, he can actually gain some extra points.
So there's Jones, Herfoss behind him, then Galloway. Now back up front we go. And Wayne Maxwell, as our highlights continue, lap 8 of 12. He leads comfortably now in the first race today. If you didn't catch our coverage, he was hounded by his teammate Glenn Allerton all the way. Not so in race 2. Maxwell has cleared out, leading by in excess of 10 seconds.
Yeah, he's just gone past and lapped Ben Burke. So Ben Burke just been lapped, probably not what he expected in this race, but these conditions, as we say, are tricky. And I'll tell you what, if Wayne Maxwell had rear vision mirrors on that R1, he would see exactly what he wanted to see, which was nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Just the spray from his rear tyre. Maxwell growing in confidence as each lap of this Yamaha Motor Finance Australian Superbike Championship rolls on. Jones Just listen to the engine. And again, you'll note the ease on the throttle.
Sounds easy, but it's not as easy as it sounds. Oh,
you're kidding. Falzon down for the second time.
Gee, he is a trier, isn't he, Daniel Falzon, giving it everything that he's got, the young South Australian. But you know what, he is learning, David, and looks like he's, without seeing the accident, I don't know, to end up out there. Here we go. He's gone in, lost the front that time. He's pushed that front too hard. Looks like a drying line there, and that goes back to what we were talking about just a couple of minutes ago about how even sometimes when the track dries out, you can get caught out.
Wow.
Adam Senior,
twice in one race.
Adam Senior, though, having a good run. He's right on the back of Stauffer there. Much better than in race one, and really starting to come to the grips with this new R1. He was Suzuki mounted for many years, but he's moved over to Yamaha now.
On board the Kawasaki Connection sponsored entry of Matt Walters. He currently runs in 7th position.
On board with Matty Walters now. Good indication of this circuit. Through Shark Corner he goes, 3rd gear, hard on the gas, a little bit of a squirt out of here, hard on the brakes into turn 8. A 180-degree corner, you've got to be really careful here. It's so slow compared to the rest of the circuit. You can hear him down in the revs. So smooth on the gas, up through the gears, 3rd, 4th, 5th gear. Back a couple of gears now. Up the Honda straight, quick change of direction and left into the Yamaha corners. This is a double apex. You don't want to get this wrong, and you do not want to hit that yellow line out on the right-hand side of the track. Keep it left, keep it tight. Open up the gas. You can't see where the edge of the track is yet. Through the gears, 6th gear. Down under the screen he goes. 240, 250, 60, 70, 80, 90, 290 k's an hour on the Kawasaki as you head into the ultra bumpy turn 1 here at Sydney Motorsport Park. On the gas again, 4th gear, and then one of the hardest braking corners into turn 2. This is also a double braking corner, and he's made up a lot of room there. A lot of ground. Double apex, you can see you can take an inside line or an outside line here, and Walters must be pretty happy at the moment because he is starting to pull back that group in front.
Well done, Steve Martin. Experts' analysis of this racetrack, and doing it in the wet makes it double trouble.
Yeah, and you can also see, David, just the different dry lines around this circuit at the moment, and that's what makes it difficult. Some of the different bitumen patches as well have different grip levels, and that's why so many people get caught out in these conditions. And I'll tell you what, that's a complete lap of this track with Matty Walters.
Yeah, it was great to take our viewers through that. And he's had, as I say, a good weekend, Walters. Not far to go in this one now. Superbike, race number 2 at Sydney Motorsport Park. There is your leader, Wayne Maxwell. He's had some weekend. I described it as the Wayne Maxwell juggernaut prior to the start of this race. That has turned out to be the case again.
Yeah, I mean, really, when you look at him, he's got that bike turning and doing a lot of the other stuff that a lot of the other bikes are doing without actually even having to lean the machine over. He's got it turning beautifully, and he's got good feel, a good wet setup, just keeping an eye out behind him, and he can see that there's nobody there. Ben Burke in the background, but he's already lapped him. Allerton, nowhere to be seen in 2nd place.
This is a Sunday afternoon cruise for Wayne Maxwell.
Yeah, but you know what? When things can go wrong, it's times like these. When you've got that massive lead, you start to get that bit of doubt in your mind that you just, is the bike going to make it to the finish? Am I going to hit that slippery patch? Am I going to collect the back marker? So many things going through his mind right now. But the number one thing will be bringing home an extra 25 points if he can do it for the championship.
About to overtake bike 15, the Aprilia.
He won't take any risks there. He just waits. Normally he'd go around the outside, but I'm sure he's going to nip up the inside now of that number 15 machine.
That's Nick Marsh, and Maxwell gets by safely. Of course, when you're leading by a long way and it's late in the race, the laps seem to take forever.
Well, they certainly do, especially in these conditions, David. It's very, very sketchy out there. But Maxwell's done all the hard work now. He can enjoy this last lap as he heads on it.
It's far too early in the championship to say it's his title to lose, but you've got to say he is very much warming to the occasion. Well,
absolutely. He's having a stellar run at the moment. If he wins this one, it will be 3 wins on the trot for him. But his teammate, Glenn Allerton, had a start to the season like that. And as we've seen, we've also got Herfoss as winners, and we've got other people that are going to be strong throughout the year. Mike Jones, of course, heads up to Queensland later on in the year. He's very strong there.
Yes, so last lap now for Wayne Maxwell. He is cruising. He leads Glenn Allerton, Mike Jones, Jamie Stauffer, Matt Walters, and then Braden Elliott is 6th on the circuit at the moment. Now, Glenn Allerton is circulating about 14 seconds behind the man you're watching, Wayne Maxwell. So he too is erring on the side of caution given the conditions. Jamie Stauffer, we should talk about him for a moment. I've alluded to his physicality given the injuries he's sustained so far this season. He'll be pleased to finish this round in one piece.
Yeah, not only that, he just misses out on the podium if he can hold it together. He sits in 4th spot at the moment as Jamie Stauffer, and just getting the miles back under the belt is what he needed to do. He needs to try and get it to the finish, and if he can, this will be a great result for him and prove to himself that he's still got what it takes to run with these guys at the front. So Jamie Stauffer, a stellar effort on the Crank Protein Honda.
Yeah, I agree with you. Certainly lacks nothing in the courage department, as we know. So Maxwell, not far to go now. And he heads up Honda straight towards the double apex at the top of the main straight here at Sydney Motorsport Park. It's been a good weekend. Obviously the weather intervening in an adverse fashion has impacted on the second part of the day, if you like. But we've seen some cracking motor racing. Nothing better than that first Supersport race. But here's Wayne Maxwell, a clean sweep at Sydney Motorsport Park in round 3 of the Yamaha Motor Finance Australian Superbike Championship. Delighted with that. And his head mechanic, Warren Monson, will be equally smiling. I'm pretty sure Warren was not at the previous round at Wakefield Park, so the super team reunited this weekend. Maxwell, Allerton, Jones, Stauffer, Walters, Elliott, Herfoss, Senior Galloway and Dutton, the top 10.
Yeah, some great results there. Harding, Blair, Halliday, Frost, Hampton, Baird, Rendon, Griffin, Burke and Spiteri. What a great race. And I mean, you know what? Both the Yamaha guys just proved to the rest that they've got a lot of work to do to catch up to these guys. They really do. Poor old Daniel Falzon was another one that could have had a podium this weekend, but just wasn't to be. Qualified brilliantly, but at least he showed his fighting spirit by crashing out twice by giving it everything he's got.
Wayne Maxwell, too good. Out there he goes, embracing his mechanic, Warren Monson. Of course, Monson, very good speedway sidecar racer in his own right. Let's take this opportunity to head downstairs to Jason Crump.
Your first round win of the year, Wayne. Must be pretty happy with that to be putting the points on the board now.
Yeah, to do it in the style that we did is pretty cool. It's Glenn had the clean sweep, well, not quite the pole clean sweep at the first round, but he definitely had a great one. And to do it again for Yamaha and take their second round weekend, so we've won 2 out of 3, is great for the team. Great for Glenn and I to keep working away, and I'm super pumped. I can't wait to roll on to Perth. It's going to be a lot different to here again, and it's going to be another tough one.
About halfway through the race, I made the decision to just, try and consolidate first place because we were so close to the limit. Either of us could have fallen off at any moment, and take second place and put it in the bank for the championship, go to Perth and try to dominate there.
Yeah, look, overall the weekend here for round 3 was fantastic for the Des Motorsport Ducati team and myself. Obviously to qualify 3rd on the grid and then run 3rd in both races was fantastic. Like you said, tricky conditions and mixing it up between the dry and the wet, and we were able to finish on the podium in both, so absolutely ecstatic and just couldn't be happier.
You've got to be happy just to finish given the conditions. The Australian Superbike Championship looks this way at the completion of round 3. Allerton leading his teammate Wayne Maxwell by 2 points. Then Troy Herfoss, Mike Jones, Benny Burke, Crew Halliday, Daniel Falzon and Braden Elliott. We head off to Barbagallo Raceway in Western Australia for the 4th round, June 3 to 5. It's your backside trackside. It's a highly entertaining place to watch motor racing. You can join in the conversation about the ASBK on the social media addresses displayed there, or visit asbk.com.au. On behalf of your commentary team comprising Jason Crump and Steve Martin, I'm David Tapp. Thanks for joining us. Park.